Hello, dear friends, and welcome to this brand new tutorial in which I will show you how you can find some important family themes by exploring the charts of different family members. The most interesting is actually to interpret, to analyze the charts of parents and children. Sometimes if you can go through 3 generations, for example, that would be awesome as well. And there are certain things that we will do together that can show you actually repeating themes or something that each of the family members needs to work on. And in order to do that, we need to explore repeating aspects in the charts of the parent and the child. What I mean here is, for example, we have the same pair of planets, let's say Venus and Saturn. The parent has a square between those two planets, and in the horoscope of the child, there is a trine, for example. This shows that the theme of Venus-Saturn is actually repeating in the generations, and this is like a family significant theme. Something that we pay extra attention to is what type of aspect we have in the charts. And sometimes it could be a repeating aspect. Both of the charts have a trine, for example, but in most cases, there is a difference. And we have a couple of scenarios. It's possible that, for example, the parent may have a challenging aspect between, let's go with the example of Venus and Saturn. There is a challenging aspect like square, and the child has a trine between Venus and Saturn. This situation, this case shows that actually the parent has worked with the team with the topic of Venus Saturn, and he has put some kind of effort or he has done some kind of work. So now the child has a positive aspect between the same planets. We can have the opposite case, of course. The parent may have a positive aspect between two planets, and the child has a challenging aspect between the same two planets. This situation will show us that probably the parent hasn't used the energies in the best possible way. Of course, there could be different speculations. Sometimes we may say that maybe he has wasted his potential or he has used it in a negative way, and the answers might be different depending on the case. But we may find that the child has a challenging aspect, and it shows that they need to work on to overcome certain challenges, maybe something that their parents didn't take care of. And the third, the general option, is to have the same type of aspect, challenging aspect with for the child and the parent. In this case, we can say that they both have the same challenges that they need to work on, and the parent wasn't able to actually process this energy and transform it. And of course, it may also be a case when there are two positive aspects in the two charts, which is great, and it shows that there is a talent which can be transferred from one generation to another. So that's the very basic information that we need. And now I will share my screen and I will show you how exactly you can find this with your charts. So I'm sharing the screen now. And I have calculated 3 charts. All right. So how you can do this? You can go to my website, marstars.net, or you can check the link in the description below for the calculator. And there you can use my free birth chart calculator. I have already calculated and prepared 3 charts so that we don't waste time right now. And I will show you how it can be really simple actually to compare the 2 charts if you don't know them by memory. For example, here we have 3 charts which show the horoscope of the father on the left side, the child in the middle, and the mother on the right side. And the thing that we need to focus on right now is the table with the aspect. So here, the table in the lower, what's this, left corner. This is the table that's showing us the aspect between the planets. So we just need to go through each of those combinations and explore, is there some certain similarities? Let's start with the father very quickly. You will see how simple this can be. And we can start with the sun. Here in the first column shows the aspects of the sun. And we can see there is a quincunx with the moon, sextile with Mars, opposition with Jupiter, sextile with Uranus, nonagon with Neptune. Here is the chart of the child. There is a karmic aspect between the sun and the moon. So this is a repeating theme. And actually, if we go to the chart of the mother, we can see that also the mother has an aspect between the sun and the moon, opposition. So this is a theme that's transferred between the parent and also the child. In this case, both of the parents. Something else which we can see here, also the sun has a square with Jupiter. We remember here the father has an opposition between the sun and Jupiter, the child has a square, and the mother actually has a quincunx. So again, the three charts include aspects between the sun and Jupiter. That's quite amazing. And we can say that probably the father hasn't been able to process this energy and to make it kind of like softer, because the aspect is difficult in both of the cases. The quincunx, it's a mixed aspect. It's first challenging, then it can be more positive, but this is also a repeating theme. So with the sun, that's all we got here. The sun with the moon and the sun with Jupiter. And next, we just need to do the same with the other aspect and with the other planets, and it won't take too much time, you will see. The father has an opposition between the moon and Mercury, and square between the moon and Uranus, square and a half moon Pluto. The child here has a trine between the moon and Mercury. So again, repeating the same theme of Mercury and the moon, but the parent, the father, has a challenging aspect and the child has a positive aspect. In this case, we actually have energy which has been transformed. So the father has worked with this theme and the child has a positive aspect. The others don't repeat, yeah, except for Uranus, actually. There is a binonagon. The parent has a square between moon and Uranus, and the child has binonagon, karmic aspect. So again, there is an energy that hasn't been transformed. The mother doesn't have any of those aspects. Next, we have Mercury. Semi-square with Venus, nonagon with Mars, quincunx with Jupiter. That's what the father has. Here, the child, sextile with Mars, so Mercury-Mars, repeating theme. Mercury-Mars, also the mother has a square. So see how this energy actually has been transformed. The mother has a challenging aspect, major challenging aspect. The child has a positive aspect. So the mother has transformed this energy. Binonagon with Jupiter and karmic creative aspect with Saturn. So those are probably not that significant, but there are also certain connections. Next, we have Venus. The father has Venus square Mars, sextile Neptune, conjunction Pluto. The child basically has completely different. So with father and child doesn't have Venus connection. Let's see the mother. The mother has a sextile with Uranus. This is a repeating aspect. The child has the sextile and the mother has the sextile. This could be some kind of talent that has been transferred from the mother to the child, Venus, Uranus. This is quite interesting. And yeah, I think those are and Saturn. So the mother has a quincunx between Venus and Saturn. The child has a sextile. So this energy has also been transformed by the mother. It works in a different way. It's presented in a different way in the horoscope of the child. Mars trine with Uranus, square with Pluto. This is the father. Here we don't have major aspects. Okay, only with Neptune. The mother has a trine between Mars and Neptune. The child has a creative aspect. So also similar theme, and it's transformed in a positive way. Jupiter with Uranus. Jupiter doesn't have the same connections here, but the child has Jupiter with Saturn, a trine. The mother has a positive creative aspect. So overall, yeah, those are the connections. So we found that Sun Jupiter is a repeating theme in the three charts. So this is something that needs to be transformed. The Sun with Jupiter. We saw that the father has a challenging aspect between Moon and Mercury. The child has a positive aspect. There was also Mercury with Mars. The mother has a challenging aspect. The child has a positive one. Repeating aspect, Venus sextile Uranus in the horoscope of the mother and the child. And those are the themes that are important for the family. When we find those connections, those same planetary combinations. And I highly recommend you to do this for your own family. And again, if you have the charts of 3 or more generations, it would be even more interesting. Very often you will find how the same themes might repeat in 3 or even more generations. And this is the family theme. This is something that's important for each of those family members. Then the interpretation, in order to do that, we need to understand each of the charts, but we also need to understand what's the meaning of the different planetary combinations, which of course can be a huge theme. So I cannot cover this in only one tutorial, but that's a great starting point. If you can define, okay, those planetary combinations exist actually in the chart of the mother and the child, or father and child, or as you can see in some cases in both parents and the child. And then you can go deeper to understand what's the meaning of each of those aspects and how you can work with this energy. Again, very interesting theme. And I think that you can make your own discoveries by exploring this method. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. If you want to learn astrology with us and understand much more than this and go really deep into astrology, sign up for the waitlist for Mars Stars Astrology Academy. You can learn more about it in the description below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.